Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Whilst the Kylie Rodri case has been solved in recent times, supposedly, kind of weird how I made a little prediction 2 days ago about that. It'll be interesting to see if the waves of people come back. But that aside, as you can tell by the title of this video, quite an important one. I want to give my opinion, analyse and break down what's visible. Is there any clues, links, changes in environment, strange activity like what we saw at Jim Brenner's trailer, his burnt out one. And speaking of which, if you haven't already checked out my previous video, make sure to do so. There should be a link top corner of the screen as well as in the comment section. A very important video which reveals the location of Jim Brenner's trailer and his vehicle captured on camera, okay? So as we're going along in this video, welcome to the chat. If you're currently here, you can share your opinions, thoughts, reactions, and so on, and talk about other stuff too. I think in a previous video or so, there was a small bit of chaos or so where things were being talked about which weren't necessary, but I wasn't present at the time. I was a bit late to the premiere, so I was a bit of a naughty boy there. But, you know, anyone acts out, all under control. Shh. You know, when you look into my eyes, everything is under control. And if not, well, there are methods to take back control, okay? Anyway, let's get into this video. Credit to Salty Pancakes, the individual responsible for visiting the area, getting up close and, you know, documenting it, okay? So let's get into it now, doing like a slideshow format of the journey from there to on the way and see what we can find, okay? Okay, so the beginning of Salty Pancakes' video started with like a time lapse of driving to the location. He did that when he was visiting Montello in the past. It is good because it gives you an idea, a perspective of what the area looks like, boots on ground. Now, in addition, this kind of ties in parallel to, well, in opposite parallel to the bird's eye view I've been presenting to you on Google Maps. So now you're getting to see both perspectives, what it looks like from above, seeing all the little buildings, bits of rock, discoloration in the ground, the dirt, the tracks. Now you're seeing it all pieced together in real life there. As you can see on screen, you got a winding dirt road in and out. You got bits of vegetation on the left and right hand side. And you can just see how vast it is. If I just zoom in a little bit, I will try and use the magnifying glass later on for smaller objects again. But you can just see how vast it is. You can see the mountains in the distance. You know, just so open. Not really anywhere you can hide from looking at it here. Bits of vegetation on the side there, some more mountains over that way. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are they the mountain border? The mountain border. The border between Montello and Lucin. I might be wrong. It just depends what angle Pancakes is coming in from, which road he's coming in. And if it's the one over from Wendover, maybe that highway, coming in that way, then it might have missed out the odd road or two. In terms of the gate, you remember the gate to Dylan's property. We'll get more into that shortly anyway. Now the actual dirt road itself, and you will see it in Salty Pancakes' video through the time lapse he did. It's not that bad. It's fairly smooth. How it looks on bird's eye view on Google Earth is how it looks kind of in person. You got the odd few loose stones, but no big boulders or rocks for the most part of it. It looks reasonable. Sure, it's still rough. It requires off-road vehicles and you could still get a flat tyre. But when you compare this to the Kenny Veach case, completely different story. You're going down Joe May Road. Absolute nightmare. Your vehicle is rocking, bouncing up and down. Much more rough, much more rugged, more penetrating. You're just trying to move along, but every step of the wheel is just rolling over yet another hard object. It's not a pleasant feeling. Rough on the body, jolts, it makes you shake. And especially if you're just walking out on the ground as well, you'll feel it, pressing against your body. So, depends if you like that sort of stuff. But when you compare it to this, much more smoother, which is good, okay? Let's move on to the next slide anyway. Now, this was a bit further on down one of the dirt roads, and he got out just to have a look, and I can interpret it this way. So, when you see this sort of area is what you see on Google Earth. You remember where I said it looks very patchy? You've got a grey spot, you've got a whitish spot, whether it be a mound or just discoloration in the ground. This is like an example, I guess, because you can see the different colourings. In the distance, it's it's like brownish. Up close, it looks sandy-like, lighter. And then around these bushes, it's grey. And then in between, you've got these mounds. Can you see? Now, I don't know if it's the depth of field, but I guess they're natural mounds. You can leave your opinion down below, because like with the Kenny Veach case, you had like geologists and people like that stepping in, giving their expert opinions and casual thoughts. You can do the same here if you're interested in this sort of stuff. The vegetation, the ground, the rocks, the mounds. Does anything stand out to you? Is there anything suspicious, anything dodgy, potential burying ground, or just natural, normal, nothing to worry about? Slightly lighter brown there. And we saw a few of those patches around Dylan's land as well. So you're seeing it in person, you're getting an idea of how it looks. So that's interesting. That, I don't know what that is. Either it's a carcass of an animal, bones, or it's just like roots from the vegetation, one or the other. Interesting. Move on to the next one. So this is on the right-hand side of the road, I think. It says Pilot Mountain, Bighorn Sheep Reintroduction Project. And what does the rest of the writing say? I can't quite read that. It's faded. Something about Utah. Hunters, be sure of target. So I guess what they're saying there is make sure you're able to distinguish between a bighorn sheep and a human. Then again, I'm sure it's easy to tell who is who, what is what, the difference, unless the human is on all fours, crawling around. No idea why that would be happening, okay? Could interpret it many different ways, but yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to identify, the difference of what to shoot and what not to shoot. But then again, if you're in the dark, no lighting, there could be mishaps. But it's kind of ironic, this sign saying, be careful of what you shoot at. And yet people were always talking about how signs in places like this will have bullet holes in. And is there any bullet holes on this? Let's take a look. It looks to be the case, doesn't it? Smaller ones. You got some big holes there. Look at that. Is that a big hole? Or is... I don't want to get into the Tyler Feller situation where you misinterpret it as a hole when it's not from a bullet. Like a big black dot there. I wonder if that should be on the eye, or is it in capital letters? It's in capital letters there, the dot. But you can see lots of small holes, can't you? Scattered about, up and down. Are they all of the same caliber? I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. To some people, like from the US, will be like, so what, man? So what, man? We see it all the time. Fucking sign, shut up. It's bent and rigid. Oh my God, look at these holes. You can't even see through them anymore. You see the light bending through. It's like sun tunnels, reincarnation. Oh my God, I can't breathe. Yeah. But, it gives that perspective of You know, like when we're talking about the shooting ranges, you know, just that brief point saying how, oh, I wonder if any of the individuals are coming along and going to official places. Obviously not. You know, people are making their own targets. You had Jim with the barrel and that white bag or something you shot at. And I guess here and there you got people shooting at these signs. But the question I have, who are these people? Are they residents? Are they locals? Let me know what you think in the chat. You know, this is in Lucin. It's quite desolate. Probably more desolate than Montello. With Montello, you've got more farms, more businesses, you've got the town itself and more trailers. So who's coming here to shoot holes in this sign? That's the question. Is it people from Montello? Is it visitors from Salt Lake City, Wendover, or the odd rogue person in Lucin? Let me know what you think. Are they using it for target practice? Are they just messing around? And so on. It's just to get an idea of the activity levels of the location and how often on average do people shoot within the area, because that could help in some way. Let's move on to the next slide. Now we actually start approaching Dylan's grain shed, okay? Now, as a little bit of context, the way he's entered doesn't seem to be from the way, do you know, like if you're going down that long road approaching Dylan's gate, Pancakes hasn't come that way. It appears he's come a different way. Now, I might be wrong, you can correct me down below, but it looks like he's come from the wash. You remember that? You know where the wash is, which is north of the grain shed, and then past the wash you've got the railway tracks, and then past that I guess you've got more roads, and somewhere around there's a crossing. Do you know what? Let's just try and recreate it now, just so you get an idea visually. I'm just going to quickly hop on to Google Earth, okay, and just give you my opinion, my perspective of how I see this and how we got there, okay? So this is how I normally start my map analysis videos of the grain shed facing north. Now, when you look at the camera angle of Pancakes, it wasn't in this direction, okay? From the looks of it, Pancakes was coming in from this road here. Because if you look in his video, because I don't want to show all his footage, you should check his video out. But when you saw him actually going to the grain shed during the time lapse, he was going down this road. At some point, there was a fence that had to be opened. And then he carried on driving. And then he made a right turn and was heading south into the grain shed. And as you saw in that last image I shared with you on screen, the grain shed, oops, fucking zoom. The grain shed was on this side, meaning he was coming in this way. Flip this way, okay? Looking south. And when you saw that biggish vehicle on the left-hand side, the one with those long arms, it was this here. Can you see? That's why it was, that big thing with the long arms, like a tractor or a vehicle. I think it's for spraying water or chemicals. So yeah, that's what it looks like. That's the angle. So it makes sense to why he came in this way, because it's not as restricted. Because if he came in for the north way, you know, down this long road, obviously you've got the gate here. You've got the gate there to the grain shed. And if that's locked, then you probably won't be able to open it. But then again, you probably could just drive around it, couldn't you? Just go off road, but maybe it's not practical in general. Maybe it's more dodgy going in that way. I don't know, you just got to think about the whole, you know, police presence in the past when they were investigating the land. Maybe they did something, I don't know. But when Pancakes was coming in, he came in the other way, up that way. Now, if we just track back, as said, you can see the wash running in parallel to that road. So Pancakes would have probably come all the way down this winding road, okay? At some point, he did cross over the train tracks, which is across from the wash. If I can actually find it. Train tracks are here, as you can see. There you go, next to the wash. So, just get back onto this dirt road here, winding in and out. I wonder if Pancakes went over there where that phone ping was, that clearing. I didn't see any pictures or images of that. That'd be interesting. Maybe let him know or something. Coming up here, getting to this point, and then he must have come this way. It drops down, as you can see, into the wash. You got the water hole on the right hand side there. If you wonder why I'm moving a bit quick, it's because I've already done map analysis videos of this stuff, okay? So if you want to check back for a deeper, slower look, if you prefer it slow, I do have previous videos, okay? There. And then I believe it's here. This is what Salty Pancakes drove over. Okay? And then it went over that way. So, I guess that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong, or Salty Pancakes can, whoever, the actual directions to get there, and the entrance point, which road he took. Was it the North Road or the South Road? Okay? Let's return back to the exploration. So here we are back on ground level. It's kind of good being able to switch from map to on ground within the same location. We just zoom in here, that's what I said, the tractor vehicle thing with the long arms, that's what you saw on Google Earth just a second ago, okay? A few mounds over there, some white mounds, don't know if that's salt, bits of dirt, debris. The ground itself looks reasonable, bit of vegetation. You got, I guess, another tractor there. Is it a John Deere tractor maybe? Some big wheels. Another vehicle over there, kind of looks similar. A mound, black mound. And then on this road, fairly flat. You can see the tie marks faintly shown. That's obviously from the vehicle in front, but it's just yet another observation, an idea of how the track marks appear on that specific terrain. Now, these vehicles aren't as heavy as an excavator, a truck, and the ground is dry and it looks compact. So tread marks, tire marks are only going to show very lightly. And if you've got wind, you've got rain, they're going to be washed away fairly quick, okay? So it's just worth taking that in mind. The vehicle in front is, I don't know if it's a local, but it's someone that's, I guess, guiding Pancakes to the location. Do you like how a tour guide would? So I don't know if this individual works on the farm, lives in the area, or in Montello. Pancakes reached out and said, can you take me here, or can you share it with me or something? But yeah, that's interesting. I don't think it's Kurt. You can't really make out, but it looks to be a man, but it doesn't look like Kurt. We can leave your thoughts. And then there you can see the grain shed slowly approaching it. In terms of the shape, the size, fairly big from the outside. A few bits of material and equipment on the side and around the back. We'll take a closer look at that in a second. I don't know if that's a window. It could be a window there, or if it's like a hole in the side. But yeah, that's what it looks like from this angle, from this distance. Let's have a closer look now. So, approaching the grain shed on the right hand side, appears to be a digger, some kind of digger. John Deere, obviously. Now, I will be using the magnifying glass shortly. I don't think I need to for now because there's not too many bitty bits. You know, when you get all the little tiny objects and stuff you really need to take a look at, like Dylan's trailer. When we get to something like that, then I will, okay? But this is in the open. You can see more clearly. Now, you could ask that question. Is that John Deere vehicle responsible for the track marks in the wash? I would say no. No way. Why? Because the width of those track marks were equal to one another in width. You look on here, the width of the back wheels stick out compared to the front wheels. The size of the wheels are different, and the track marks on them are different. You look at that one, smaller wheel, different pattern of the tread mark. It's like a line, a wobbly line, 3 lots of them. Okay. You look at the back wheel, much thicker, and the tread mark is horizontal this time, going across. So you'd get a different pattern if you saw that on the ground. So it can't be, this vehicle can't be responsible for those marks. And just in general, a vehicle like this, similar, can't be because of the width of the wheels. They're not equal to one another, and the track marks aren't either. Just wanted to point that out, okay? As well, the back tyre, I don't know if it's just on one side. It seems to be leaning, so I assume it is. A flat tyre, completely flat, as you can see. Don't know what caused it. I don't know how long it's been there for. I'm just trying to think, because I can't pay attention to everything all at once. Was this on Google Earth? If it was in the same exact position, and that's from 2019, then clearly it's not of importance to be used even when Dylan was around. So makes you think, I wonder what else it was used for, or why did they not bother trying to fix it, and so on. But at the back, it appears it's got its stabilizers out. I wonder why. Is it to compensate for the back wheel, maybe, with it being screwed? Do they try using it as some kind of jack? I don't know. The actual digger, the head of it, is very dirty. It's not been cleaned. So at some point it's been used to dig up the ground, the dirt. The colouring of it is similar to what you see back there with the mounds. Hopefully you can see. So I think that digger was probably responsible for that, creating a clearing maybe. See all the mounds up and down. The mountains in the background. I don't know what that black mound is. Bin bags, liner, maybe. It's not exactly clear. You can leave your thoughts down below and let me know what you think. Some of the little objects in the back. But yeah, I guess it was used for creating a clearing, maybe to expand on the land, create more space to park vehicles, instead of leaving them on the pure off-road ground where it can get saturated, vehicles get stuck. You know, kind of like what Black Dove was talking about, how there might be a clearing, the ground might have kind of like a concrete finish to make it harder, more durable. Vehicles can park on it, drive over it without getting stuck. Maybe that's what was underway here. You can see more mounds. Does any of this look dodgy to you? I'd say that with the police being present, I'm sure they would have, searched this area to see. If they see mounds, that should be the first thing they start looking at, I guess. But it doesn't look like it's been disturbed, because look, this is the thing what we got to take in mind. The police, Box Elder County, maybe FBI, have been to this area previously. So has Candice during the investigation. The way they said that, the way someone said that they were digging up the ground nearby. Is any of this the cause of it, a part of it? I mean, maybe. But it's worth looking. Whilst we're going through these slides and images, leave your thoughts. Do you see anything that has changed? Do you see anything that has been caused by the police investigating the area? And overall, does this place look like it's been searched deep by the police, by detectives, or not? Because from the looks of it so far, it looks just abandoned, like how it would do if left untouched. And in a way, you don't want it to be untouched. You want it to be touched as much as possible by the right people, you know. You don't want the wrong people touching it because it's not exactly practical. If the right people come in with the correct resources, start touching about, fiddling, digging up, revealing, going deep, they might find something. And from the looks of it here, it doesn't seem to be the case at the moment, okay? Maybe things will change, we'll see. Anything else? Even that looks like it's been used, mainly just the bottom part where it's dirty. So was it used just to scrape up, do you know when you get the snow plows where the digger spade thing is lowered onto the ground and you just drive along and it just pushes it, moves it along like how it on here. That could be the case. I don't know what's in the head of it. Bits of bottles maybe, junk. Nothing really seems of importance. No, not really. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Now this is just going past the digger. We can see more of those mounds, quite a lot of them. I think what could have happened is, like how you got that clearing here, I can imagine that ground, the mounds, was from the... God, my stomach's rumbling. Fuck me. That is probably just excess dirt that's just been put aside from creating the clearing of the ground closer to us. Okay. Now, is there anything that stands out to me here? Well, we just zoom in. What's that? Are we seeing any footprints? It looks like the odd hole, maybe. There's lots of dots which could be created by wildlife. But let me know, because I can't see everything at once. Let me know, do you see any footprints within the area? Okay. Now, if you see footprints right now, Pancakes right now of recording is in his vehicle with the visitor or the like the tour guide. So you couldn't say the footprints are because of him because he's still in the vehicle at this moment in time. So who else could be responsible if there is any? Little, you got some piping, cables or something back here. You got a red pipe, blue pipe. I don't know if that's to do with any irrigation system or for water to transfer through, maybe. See a few that run over here. I don't know where they go to, but they separate off. Let me know your thoughts about that. Interesting. And then you've got this here on its side. Is this the washing machine? I don't know, or is it a tumble dryer? I'm not sure, it could be one or the other. If it's the washing machine, is this the one where Dylan had that argument and fallout with Don H? Yeah, I think it was Don H when they were working out at the time and they were arguing over the broken washing machine. Could this be it, maybe? A few pallets of wood, yeah, not much there. What's this down here? You can't, I don't know if you can quite see it, but behind that pallet on the left, there seems to be another like washing machine, maybe, or tumble dryer. So it could be that, or the one I just previously showed you. Down here, it kind of dips down, do you know, with the mounds, as it drops down. Is that an underground, like, tunnel for, like, water coming out? It looks like it. Or maybe it's just the what do you call it? An illusion. It just kind of looks like a tunnel that goes under the ground if there's water. You got some more things over there. I don't know if they're, I think they could be tanks, maybe. Water tanks, maybe oil. Or it could be something else. Leave your thoughts in the chat. What do you think they are? What they're used for? But yeah, you get an idea of how that looks. Move on to the next slide. Now, just a slightly different angle, moving up slowly. You start to see the grain shed more in view. There's a like washing machine appliance from the looks of it there. The pallet's cornering it off in a way. A few more mounds back there. That appears to be a generator from the looks of it. Don't know when it was last used. Oh. You got all the piping, as you can see on the ground, as it carries on going here, and it's wrapped all around and stuff. Old little trailer there, like bicycle-like wheels. A shelf, you know, fallen over. Don't know why. You got like a side door there, and then a window, or it's blacked out. The actual condition of the shed looks readable. Is that corrugated sheeting? I think. The roof as well looks in good condition. Yeah. The reason why I say this is because, as I said briefly, you go back in time and you look at the aerial images of the grain shed in the past. It's always looked reasonable, even to this day. So it's been maintained from the looks of it. Although maybe the inside might not. The outside from the looks of it looks pretty messy, scruffy. The actual shed, the structuring of it looks alright compared to everything. So yeah. Take a closer look. Is there any footprints on the ground? Huh. What's that? Are they rocks? What are those black things there? Not the tiny black dots, but that bigger black oval shaped thing at the bottom of the screen. There's a few more there as well, close together. I don't know what they are. And there's another one there in between the piping. You can't quite make it out there. Move on to the next slide. A little bit closer. And the reason why I wanted to show you this angle is just the structuring of the shed and how it's situated. So, okay, first of all, you've got a portaloo there. So if you need to go for one, you can go inside of it. Probably not ideal, the position it's in. Your legs are probably going to be stuck up. Well, that sounds a bit odd. But you get what I'm saying in terms of the positioning of that portaloo. I don't know if you call it that in different countries, but that's what it's called in the UK, portaloo. It makes sense to why it's there, because you're in the middle of nowhere. You got to do something. But then again, you could dig a hole in the ground and do it that way. So there's always an alternative. But yeah, and there's a trailer nearby, so they could have used the toilet there. But to be honest, that's not really an important analysis for a video like this. Then again, when it came to the Kenny Veach case, I did nearly a 20-minute video analysing underpants. But that was because they were found in the desert. So it's like trying to think, who could they be? Is it Kenny's? Is it someone else? Missing person? And so on. So bit of context. You got a wheelbarrow just in front of it. More piping. Oh, look what we've got there. We've got a spade, a shovel. Can you see it? It's just underneath that like bookshelf. Very thin, that white pole with a black head at the bottom. Do you think that shovel was used for anything? Taking Dylan out, maybe? Burying him, maybe? Also, what I want to say, some people get a little bit confused saying, oh, Andrew, the way you word stuff, you're making it sound like he's already dead when there's no proof to prove he is dead. Well, what I'm doing is I'm using language and applying it to a person who was in the shoes perspective of thinking he was dead. Does that make sense? So I'm not literally saying he is, but I'm just saying it in the wording and structuring as if somebody who believed he was. A situation where he was. Okay? You got a little trailer there. Do you see how it drops down? Can you see? It drops down a bit. It's like a mini wash. So if there was flooding, it's like a moat of a castle in a way. That could explain that pipe, which was, where was it? Over that way to the right, I think. Could be a drainage pipe which goes underground. But the side of this shed, you got gaps underneath, so mouse could sneak in, but that's not a high priority. The door itself is a bit dodgy. You know, just imagine you're in there and you think, okay, I'm just going to open the door and walk out. And then you end up falling down there. Did they think that one through? You know what I'm saying? You open the door and you just drop down. Yeah, and, well, it depends. If you think about it this way, it sounds a bit stupid, but you look at the rock. I don't know how long it takes to erode, if it's crumbling already, but if this fills up with water, with time it probably could erode the rock away. And with that grain shed, you know, perched on the side of that rock, if that rock goes, so will part of the grain shed and it will collapse. I mean, it's been like that for a long time, but it does make you think, could it collapse at some point? So yeah, interesting. And yeah, as well, if you want to write a slight little cut in the audio, some absolute knobhead decided to start ringing in the background on a phone. Like, piss off, I am busy. Hectic, fuck off. Okay. So you get the idea of how it looks. We need to go on to the next slide. So this is past the grain shed, okay? You will see inside very shortly. So, you know, hold on. And it's interesting this because you look on the left, you got that little small building, little small shed. I've not seen this before because from aerial viewpoint, something like that with a flat roof, not much shadowing, literally looks like a 2D square when looking down at it, like a panel, a palette, and that's it. But look at it now, you're getting a different perspective. I don't know what it's for. Is it a chicken coop? It could be. Is it made out of hard board? Corrugated roof? I'm just trying to think for our ideas. Now that vehicle on the left, is that a Ford? Is that a Ford F-150? I mean, different colour to Dylan's, okay, but just pointed that out. Small little white bucket there. Could have like food in it for the chickens, maybe. I don't know if there's any chickens inside of it. You know, Dylan's missing. Nobody seems to be on the farm. What's going on there? A few more loose buckets and barrels dumped, scattered. And then you've got that black stuff, which is bin bags, black liner, probably covering up junk, dirt. What we did see on Google Earth when I said, what's that? That long, winding black thing, that is what it is, okay? So we get to clear things up as we go along. Some people thought it was just rocks, but from the looks of it, it does look like bin bags. You see the shine on it and the finish, so yeah. Oh, also in addition, from looking at it now, you see those mountains over there, all the way across. They're the mountains like the pilot one, the Bold Eagle Mountain. I don't know which one's which, but you know what I'm talking about, that border, the mountain border. You go past and over those mountains, you reach Montello. And somewhere, whichever one it is, I'm not sure exactly where, Jim's trailer is on the other side, nearby to the mountains. So that's interesting, that, when you look at it. Yeah, okay. Anything else? Well, is that like rope or more piping, I guess? Probably. Used for spreading water, transferring it and stuff. Over here, you got the odd spare tractor, vehicle, tyre, wheel. And then what you do see, and I don't know if it's water or oil, but I have seen them myself, like near building sites and stuff. There's like white crates with like some reinforced finish around it to hold it together maybe, which will store water, maybe oil, other bits of resources. And this is like what some people were talking about at the time, saying the situation of Dylan when it comes to water, conserving it, making sure to use it wisely, and if not that, gas, oil, petrol, whatever it is, they'll probably have reserves and a collection of it on their own land so they don't have to keep going back and forth to somewhere like Montello to get gas, or Wendover. So this is an example of that, okay? So far, chat, what do you think of the area? Does it look disturbed? Does it look like anything's been dug up? You know? From my opinion, I'd say no, it looks like it is how it was when Dylan's mother first went there. You know, there might be the odd vehicle missing. That could be because it's been taken away for investigation. Now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so camera angle leaning back towards the grain shed on this side. Still looks in decent condition. You can't really see any holes or major cracks. In terms of the ground, you got a few more like containers, as said, a few more spare wheels. That looks like for storing maybe gas, oil. There's containers over there, drums. You got a generator down here from the looks of it. Don't know if it's in use, if it works or not. A few crates, bits of wood, a barrel there. What's on top of it? Is that a mallet? A hammer, maybe? Not quite sure. A few more crates. Don't know what's inside of them. And in there, it does look dark, but it does lighten up once you're in there. Okay. So that's what that looks like. Now we move on to the main part. And your first reaction probably could be, oh, looks a bit empty, bit plain. Most people's reactions will be, where is the grain truck? If Dylan parked it in there, where is it now? What's happened? Well, most likely it was taken away by the police, law enforcement, FBI for, inspecting DNA analysis. It would make sense because if that's what Dylan was driving and, went in there and said what he was going to do, they'd probably check in to see if anyone else has touched it and so on. It makes you think, did they do the same with Dylan's vehicle, his Ford F-150 Burgundy Raptor? I don't know about that. But yeah, I wonder what they'll do with the grain truck. Once they have checked it out for evidence and let's say there's no findings, nothing interesting, no evidence, do they just return it back to the grain shed or do they scrap it? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Now, I can use the magnifying glass shortly, but there are closer up shots of some of the spots in here, so I won't use it quite yet. But what's down here? Blue Def. Does that mean Blue Defender? Is it a glue? Is it some equipment? Not equipment. Is it used, for vehicles or something? I don't know. Now, but just very quickly, look at the ground. Look how dirty and dusty it looks. Now, it's to be expected. Grain shed, go to previous one, it's open. All dust is going to get in. Hence why it looks like that. If Dylan's trailer back at his living quarters looks dusty and dirty, then it's obvious this will look the same, if not worse, because it's open, it's exposed to the elements, the wind, the dust, etc. But it makes me think, does anyone know, is there any doors, any shutters on this? Because it doesn't look like it. Normally you might have a barn with a big door on it, a slider. If you're storing things in there, equipment, tractors, vehicles, you don't want people going in and stealing it, right? Now, might be an exception here because if Dylan was known to not lock his vehicle, his Ford F-150, because no one stole anything and hardly anyone was present in this area, then there'd probably be no need to lock up the grain shed. So that could explain that. But still, it would make sense just to have a door on it, just for protection purposes. But doesn't seem to be the case. Anyway, returning back. That's how it looks like. The roof itself looks okay. Doesn't seem like there's any leaks. I mean, you've got some gaps in the corner on the ground, but that's about it. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so this one's just focusing more to the left, and I'll use the magnifying glass for this part. Okay, so I've got the magnifying glass with me. Let's just see, first of all, on the ground, is there any disturbance? Does any of that look like footprints? There looks like there's bits of straw, bits of hay, or wood shavings or something. I can't quite make that out. Just zoom out slightly. Let me know your thoughts. What is that? I don't know, me personally. Yeah. There's a bit more over there as well. It could just be junk. I'm just trying to see, because as we've seen in other areas, is there any footprints, any marks? Could be animals as well. Animals can get in. But is any of it caused by humans? Any footprints? Let me know what you think, okay? Looks like cans wedged in the ground there. The ground looks kind of disturbed. Okay. On the left-hand side, there looks like a bit of wood, a chair, a bench or something. You got a box there, could be a battery box, the yellow one. Some cloth material. Not too much going on, as you can see without the magnifying glass, but what's that down there? Appliances, cables, connections maybe. I'm not quite sure. You can leave your thoughts in the chat as we go along. What do you think that is? What's it for? Bits of equipment, bits of scrap, junk? Yeah. There's not too much to look at here. Let's take a look in the corner over there. Hold on. You can see in the back, it's kind of a bit wonky, the panelling. Something resting on one of the beams as well. A bag there, could be straw, hay, gravel, dirt, I don't know, something like that. Sand. You can see the gap on the ground, so things can get in easily. Seems to be a mound there. We'll have to have a closer look at that, okay? So yeah, that's it for this angle. Let's move on to the next angle. So this angle is still on the left-hand side of the grain shed, behind the bit what I was showing you beforehand, okay, with the bits of wood and the chair. So you go around the back of it, round the side, you got the ground here, which looks a bit patchy itself, bits of dirt. There's a bit of like blue wiring, a bit of rope or something. Followed by a bit more there, orange rope. To the side here, there seems to be straw or hay. I might be wrong. I don't know what that's doing there if there's no horses around, and I don't think it was used as a stable either. Unless things have been chewed up by something. Not too sure. You can see quite a bit of litter, trash all over the place. Mainly cans scrunched up. I don't know if it's beer cans or just fizzy drinks. Look, you can see them all there, quite a lot of them. Got no bins, nothing like that, just dumping ground. As I'm going along on the ground, let me know if you see anything, any objects, any footprints. Feel free to pause the video if you want. Bits of objects there, debris from the looks of it. A few more cans, a little bit of rope, plank of wood. That bag again, grain bag or something. Appears to be another shovel. resting against the back panel, if you can see, near to the gap. Shovel. That shovel could be responsible for something I might share with you shortly, okay? Cardboard box of some sort. Just remember that shovel, okay? Just keep that in mind. You've got some wooden structure there. Not sure what it is exactly. You can let me know. Apologies if there's any background sound. I sound silly. Do you use that for training when you're getting on a horse? I don't know the shaping of it. It looks like what you mount if you're riding a horse, or if you're practicing to ride a horse, or if you're putting a saddle on it, a saddle holder. Let me know what you think. It just looks like it. Now, to be honest, it does remind me of a torture device, actually. Can't remember exactly how it was done now, but it was like in the shape of that, and I think it was called the saddle saw. Then again, that sounds like saddle saw bar. Is that the same thing? What the fuck? No, but I remember it in the past where it was like that, and you lowered down something with weights, or there's weights attached to your legs, and you get slowly dragged down with the gravity and the weights, so that you almost sat on it, but you pulled down, and it's made out of sharp metal, so you're kind of getting sliced in half, like a very slow process. I can't remember who used it, but I just saw it on I saw it in a video back in the past. Let me know if you remember that torture device, if you've seen it before. But yeah, bit off subject anyway. You seem to have some kind of panel there, could be a glass one. And then another one there by the side of it. Can't see any reflections. Not much going on. Okay. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, slightly moving further up towards the end of the grain shed on the left-hand side, as you see the cans down there, which I shared with you before, as well as bits of strap and rope. Look what's there, more on the right-hand side, a bloody hole. Now, when was that done? Who was responsible for that? That's kind of dodgy, right? And to take in mind, better angle, you can see there is a shovel back there, which looks a little bit dirtied, bit of mud on it, or whatever. Can you see? Got the handle of it, and then the head there. So could that have been used for the hole here? And then, the excess dirt that came from it? Because that does look like the case. Now it makes you think, who was responsible for it? And when was it done? Let's move on to the next slide, looking up close down at it. The hole itself isn't too deep. It's not too wide or too long. You can see the excess dirt there, how it's crumbled. It's just a question of when did it happen, and that's quite important, and the reason for it, what was there. Whatever it was, whatever was dug up has been removed. It's not like someone was burying something. If someone was burying something, they would have dug it up, placed something inside the hole, and then filled it back in. Yes, the ground would look disturbed. It might not be the best job, but you wouldn't leave it open like that. So the only time when it would be like that is when you've obviously dug the ground up, retrieved something, and then not bothered filling it back in. That's the likely case. As you see around the ground itself, there seems to be bits of wood, splinter, maybe stones. I don't know where that came from, if it's fallen, it couldn't have fallen from the ceiling because of the material. It might have been from other objects. But yeah, not too much to say observational wise. Can you see anything in that hole? I can see a bit of bluish stuff and a white thing. I don't know if that's paper, a bit of junk. I mean, the question we've got to ask ourselves is Candice aware of this? is Dylan? Big question. And you can leave, a discussion in the chat, in the comment section down below, okay? So the key points to take from this, the key questions are, was this hole present before Dylan went missing when he was fine, or did it emerge after Dylan went missing? If it appeared after he went missing, then who was responsible for it? The suspect, a criminal, hiding something, retrieving, getting rid of evidence maybe? Or was it law enforcement when they investigated the place, went in the grain shed, used some kind of ground penetrating radar system thing, detected something, and then started digging it up, and whatever it was, it could be a gun, it could be a knife, I don't know, and taken away to the labs for DNA testing. I mean, it would make sense, right? I mean, let's say it went like this. Jim Brenner, let's just say as an example, Jim Brenner took out Dylan, hurt Dylan near or inside the grain shed. And then, he might have used Dylan's own gun. He could have used his own, Jim's own gun, whoever's. And then once finished, he rushed into the grain shed, dug a hole and placed it inside, filled it up, and then got on with life, day-to-day life, like nothing happened. Police came along eventually, arrested Jim on the gun charges, and then he was away from the picture, the area, and then the police dug it up and found it. Could that be the case? Could that be how it follows? Maybe. Now, we've got to take in mind the actual gun itself that was used. You look at that hole, it's kind of deep, but it's not long enough to be hiding a rifle, a shotgun, unless it's a sawned off shotgun. But it looks more likely where you might dump a handgun, a pistol. You know what I'm saying? Now, does anyone know what gun Dylan had? I know people said he had a shotgun. The grandparents said he had a shotgun, but he had a spare gun at their house or someone's house, one of the families. Okay? But did Dylan have a handgun, a pistol, in his vehicle, his trailer, somewhere near the grain shed? Okay? If so, could that explain that original interview with Heavy D where the mother said they found the key fob and gun? Or is that still being interpreted as the grandparents saying something in parallel, similar, but not with intent, and just through misunderstanding of their own spare items? That's what needs to be defined and cleared up. I mean, if it was true that the gun was found then it could explain to why this hole is present right now as we're seeing. Maybe the gun was placed there. You never know. Now, I want to bring up a very brief point, and we will get to it later on in the video. I can understand some people being very suspicious that the individual recording this has come across yet another hole in the ground due to the last experience with Chase Venstra's trailer, his homestead, and the things around it which were buried, and there was suspicions with that and claims that Pancakes was responsible for it, etc. We'll get into that later, okay, towards the end of the video. Let's continue on with the slides, okay? Now, from this angle, this is more to the right, looking in the corner of the grain shed. I'll use a magnifying glass, okay? So magnifying on, we'll just look at the side here of this little building. I don't know if that's another chicken coop or just for storing objects, I'm not sure. It's got a bit of a door on the side with a hinge. Could be a chicken coop because you've got that mesh, that wiry stuff there. And you got the buckets there, which could be feeder or something for that. Let me know your thoughts. Let's just reduce the radius. Ground itself, still trash. Bits of splinters, wood, random things. Very patchy and bumpy. Yeah. We've not seen any track marks, have we? Do you know, going into the grain shed, no track marks from the grain truck when it was drove in and when it was taken out by the police, I guess. We've not seen that. But then again, if it's open, wind elements can get rid of those track marks, maybe. Maybe? I don't know. It just seems a bit odd, in a way. Let me know your thoughts. Where are the track marks? Have you seen any yet? Is there an explanation to why they're not visible anymore? Let's just look more to the left. Is that a casing of Bud Light beer, maybe? There's a red box there. I'm not sure what that is. Rope. Netting, I guess. I don't know what that would be used for, though. Is that a saw? I don't know. It's a brick. Then you got like a wooden shelf there. What's on that? Let me know what this is or what you think it is on the shelf. Anything of importance or not. It's like a can of food. Probably wrong. It could be glue, tape, any of that. And then you can see that gap down there where you see the light from outside. Another shelf, bit more dodgy and broken. Yeah, interesting. Then you got that there, that object, the table, almost like a workbench. I think that'll show in the next slide anyway. Okay. Is that a small generator? I don't know. But yeah, a few more objects at the back. So this is closer to the corner from where I said before about that little workbench. As you can see on screen, there seems to be a wooden workbench with a vise, a grip, a chainsaw or a broken chainsaw from the looks of it, and some other bits and bobs. I'll try and use the magnifying glass if that makes it any clearer. Can't really make much out down there. Seems like a little box of junk or something. A white square thing, whatever that is. Seems to be more trash on the ground there. Bits, parts, maybe from tractors, vehicles, just dumped and stored inside. Here, a few wires. Is that a lamp? I'm not too sure. There's that chainsaw with the handle, but no blade, no chain, I mean. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe a few screws, nuts. There's a few more of them. Them is like that there. I don't know what that is. Like a small little furnace or something. And then like the vise grips something in. I wonder how often he used this workbench. Or was it just here and there for everyday jobs, small little task, once in a while maybe. Not too much shows though. So just by the side of that little workbench or work table, you got another table back here which is just covered in dust. You got a small cardboard box, bits of metal, scrap, a little chair by the side. Not much seems to show up. No evidence, nothing hidden, no handprints, no blood stains, nothing like that. In the corner, top corner left hand side, you can see that hole and a little dirt mound where whatever happened. That's really the only thing that seems to stand out and looks to be disturbed and altered within, the area itself. We just move on to the next slide. Now this is back at the entrance of the grain shed on the right hand side, if you remember. From the looks of it, that appears that white appliance is that a tumble dryer. I mean, if it's a washing machine, it could be that, but I don't normally see them like that. They tend to have like a drum on the front and then like a window on it. Maybe they're different in America. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what that is there. Are they switches or something? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Got a few dials on there. Now, what would this be used for out here? Like, is it for drying, cleaning work clothes? If you get a bit messy, bit dirty, you need to dry off or you need to wash something, is that what it's used for? Must be. On the left-hand side, you got some wiring cable. Wheelbarrow without wheels. That's useful. Little red thing there, is that a fire extinguisher? Probably not. I don't know, it looks like a fire extinguisher wedged in the corner. Let me know your thoughts. And then last but not least, on the left-hand side, you got some wooden post with one of those saddles on it, what you would put on a horse. You can see the spur as well. Is it spur? No, I know spur's the thing on the boot. Just what you put your foot on when you ride in a horse. The saddle. What's that doing there? Where are the horses at? Is there like a stable nearby? A place where the horses gather? No, that sounds a bit stupid. That where the horses are at. I've not seen any, so let me know what your thoughts are about that. Why is it there? Was it ever used? Was Dylan into riding horses? Horse riding lessons? I don't know. Something to take in mind. Yeah, and that's it of the slide show of the area, the grain shed. So that was quite interesting, being able to see the grain shed up close, in person, boots on ground. We've seen it from the aerial viewpoint, that reveals so much, and it is outdated, but to see it in real time is useful. So credit to Pancakes for doing that. As said, in the chat, let me know your thoughts about the location. Does it look okay? Is there anything suspicious? Does it look like police have been there visually? Is that hole inside to do with the police, Dylan, or a criminal, a suspect like Jim? Let me know your thoughts. As for other images, I think there was the odd one of the dirt mound in the distance over that way. Just literally how it appears, a dirt mound, and that's about it. So yeah. I mean, this is the thing what we've got to now understand, okay? So Pancakes could be praised as well as criticised and, subjected to skepticism, okay? The reason why it'd be praised is for actually getting out there, being boots on ground, doing something which no one else has done up until now, if I'm correct in saying, in terms of being on the land at the grain shed. Ty and Lance have been reluctant to go there because, they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to disturb the land or any evidence whilst investigations are going underway by the police. So they've been keeping distance. They've been exploring Montello, the wash, the railroad tracks near to Dylan's land, and that's as much, I think, as far as they go. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it makes sense, just following the rules while still maintaining distance, while still investigating, looking at other key locations. That all makes sense. But now Pancakes, gloves are off, gone right, not literally, gone right in there on the key hotspot, and now we get to see it, which is good. Some people could say he's brave, other people could say silly, but he's done it. He's captured it in high quality as well, 4K video quality, very handy and useful to get the best visual experience, to observe what's around and what's present, no graininess, no blurriness, clear. And that's very helpful as well, because you might be able to see something you normally wouldn't in a lower quality resolution. And as said, when you're there, taking it all in and capturing it, you might see a fair bit, but you might not see the odd smaller details. It might not apply here, but it can apply other times. So I guess one of the questions would be, how did Salty get there without getting in trouble and without, any police monitoring the area saying you can't get in? Well, he came in from a different way, as I said. He was guided there by maybe a local, a farm worker, or someone at least. So that could have helped. He might have had access that way. But I think one of the key points to take in mind, the timing, all relative to what's been going on in recent time. So the focus has shifted towards Jim Brenner's trailer in Montello, okay, across the border. So if you think about it, if the LE were at Dylan's grain shed for a certain amount of time, and now they've been told, we need to go over that way across the border, they're probably going to move everything and everyone and go over that way, leaving this place now, the grain shed, a ghost town once again. So it opens up the opportunity for someone like Salty Pancakes to come on in and see the after effects and document it. That's one way of looking at it. The other way would be, because of what's gone on along with the trailer, the after effects of that, how the case has fallen through. The Ellie have shown kind of incompetence, the mother criticising them, wanting them to be dropped, to step down from the case. So they might be stepping back. They've not done any press conferences, the police. They've not answered any reporters, any interviews, any questions. The mother herself, they're keeping a low profile. If they're keeping a low profile, they're probably not in the area of the grain shed. And if no one's in the area of the grain shed, no one monitoring it, tracking it, it means anyone can go there now, right? Maybe there's restrictions and certain limitations for them. I mean, as said, that guy that was guiding Pancakes there had to undo a fence, a barbed wire fence. So maybe there is restrictions and limits to what you can and can't do, okay? Best, repeat that word, what you can and can't do. So, with all that in mind, is there any negatives? The skepticism. Some people, others, might criticise Pancakes because of his past history and experience with what he's done previously. So from certain viewers and the likes of Ty Corbyn, who said that Pancakes was responsible for going to Chase Venstra's homestead, digging holes, burying items like the cardboard box with the wires and the bullet casings, the 7mm Winchester rounds, that Pancakes was responsible for that, then he's most likely responsible for that hole found in the grain shed. That's how it could be interpreted. If you've done something already, whether it be tampering with evidence or creating false, fake evidence to tie it with a certain suspect or individual to incriminate them, that's not good, obviously. Could be illegal. Ty was saying that Pancakes needs to be arrested for that. So a serious action like that could lead to trust issues, right? When people see what Pancakes has now found. It's one of those situations where maybe Pancakes did find something genuine, an actual hole, by the suspect, by the police presence, and he's captured it and he's like, wow, look at this is a bit odd. But maybe viewers and other key people within the case that come across it and watch it might think, no, it means nothing. You faked it once again. You created that hole to make it into more of a mystery than it is, etc., etc. And then it could be misunderstood from there. It could cause more conflict and confusion. So sometimes it can be a bit of a lose-lose situation, if you know what I'm saying. But still interesting how a hole was found there. It does make you think, who did it, why, and when? Does it link to the case? And so on. So I think I'll leave it there. I think the video is long enough. Leave your comments down below if you have any additional questions, any video request, or you just want to share your opinion of the finding of Dylan's shed. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. For now, goodbye.